Rick's List, CNN weekday afternoons, 3 Eastern.
This is a rescue that I want you to watch as we drill down on it. This is in one of the steepest canyons which make up the landscape near Hoodsport. This is in northwestern Washington state. You see that bridge right there? Yep, that's a helicopter underneath the bridge. Imagine the type of intestinal fortitude you need to fly a helicopter under a bridge where you only have feet on each sides of your rotor to make a rescue of a teenage girl who is very messed up at the bottom of the Snoqualmie River. I mean, this is a tight squeeze. About 15 feet separates the entire area, rotor to rotor, side of the canyon. Flying under that bridge is something that Navy co-pilot Lieutenant Brandon Sheets had never done before. The surroundings, in fact, were so tight, the wash from the rotors caused the safety basket to start spinning as it was coming up. In fact, show that again. Put that video back up if you possibly could, Raj. I want to take a look at that thing because you actually get an idea. All right, there's the chopper. Watch, he goes under the bridge right there as people are looking on and just marveling. There wasn't enough clearance to go forward. So to get out, now I never even knew that choppers could do this. He had to back the helicopter out. It's a Black Hawk, as you can see there. In fact, watch this.
That's pretty amazing.
We're so appreciative of everybody who rallied to pull this one off.
That's amazing. And you know who's joining us right now? Well, first of all, I should let you know, the guy you just heard, that's the victim's grandfather. The teen is hospitalized in serious condition, the one who was rescued with injuries. She had injuries to her pelvis, her hips, spleen, ribs. The pilot of the helicopter says his crew is the one that deserves all the credit. So let's do this. Let's take you to Seattle, Washington now. We want to welcome Navy Lieutenant Brandon Sheets along with Petty Officer Richmond Roy. He is the guy who brought the girl up. Thanks, guys, for being with us. I got to tell you, job well done. That is amazing what you were able to pull off. Have you? Let me start with you, Captain. The idea that you could take a helicopter and fly it under a bridge where there's so little room on the outside, how long did you think about that before you decided to do it?
Sir, once we arrived on scene, the entire crew planned and just took in all the obstacles to make sure we had a good plan. We collectively agreed that we could safely do it. So we probably surveyed the scene for about 12 to 13 minutes.
Now, how much room was there on the sides where the rotors were?
We had 15 feet each side, sir.
And is that, have you, I'm not quite sure how to ask this question. What's the limit that you would not go into in a situation like this?
The good news is they're safely.
Well, sir, we have a limit of 10 feet for training, 10 to 15 feet for training. So that's pretty much at our limit, sir.
So, in other words, if a big gust of wind came and knocked you around a little bit, you got to worry about how close you're getting to those edges. And you also have to worry about what's above, right? Because you're under a bridge and below you is the canyon floor.
Yes, sir. Co-pilot Scott Zinner did a great job holding steady on the controls. And, you know, we look at all the variables before we go in and put the crew at risk in that situation. We look at the winds, look at our power margins, and just make sure that the canyon's not giving us too much rotor washback, too much turbulence.
Petty Officer Roy, is that you, when we see the basket coming up and it looks like it's spinning around and around, is that you on there with the rescue victim?
Yes, sir, that was me.
Why is it spinning so much, and what do you do in that situation besides the obvious, which would be to just hold on?
Well, the rotor wash blowing down in the funnel shape of the canyon actually creates like a bit of a centrifuge that causes us to spin like that, and the litter actually just acts kind of like a kite almost, which makes the spin even a little bit worse. So we're taught to handle that by using our hands actually to try and catch the wind and deflect ourselves a little bit to try and steady out the spin a little bit. But in that situation, that was about as steady as I could get it.
I'll tell you, that's amazing to watch, and I'm sure folks at home are sitting there going, how do these guys do that? Now, let me ask you about the victim. What Was she conscious? Were you talking to her? And what is she doing while she's up there spinning around with you?
She was conscious when I reached her on scene, and she was talking to me. I told her exactly what was going to happen, and then I just told her that we would get her up safely and that I would be with her the whole time. So she was pretty much just laying there holding on for the ride on the way up.
What about that moment on the way up? And by the way, how long did that take from where she was to actually getting into the helicopter? How long does that take, all that spinning crazy motion we're looking at?
Just the hoist itself takes merely just a couple minutes. The entire evolution from when I actually got down to the water, over to the patient, and by the time we got her back in the helicopter, it took a total of about 10 minutes.
That's amazing. And why did you guys choose to do this? I mean, at what point do you say she's in such bad shape? Because I just read to our viewers all the things that were wrong with her, and obviously it's very serious. At what point do you say, look, we've got to go in, we've got to save her life, and this is the only thing we can do, this is the only technique that we can use? At what point do you make that decision? Who makes that decision? Because I know that there's a possibility that they could have just said, you know what, let the helicopter go. This is too tricky. Let's just let the guys work their way down there and see if they can lift her out.
Sir, you know, we have to decide if it's worth putting the crew at risk. And from what we knew, she had multiple injuries,
right.
Hypothermia, getting worse. So we knew once we arrived on scene we were gonna, if we could do it safely, we would. And you know, we have a good feeling and had a great confidence in our maintenance personnel working day to day on that helicopter, making sure it was fine-tuned. So that gives us a good feeling going into it. Knowing that and knowing the training that we've been given, we go ahead and go through the operational risk management steps and go ahead and make the call. The group collectively made the call that, yes, we want to go ahead and take the risk.
Job well done, I'll tell you. Navy Lieutenant Brandon Sheets, along with Petty Officer Richmond Roy. Hey, thanks so much, fellas, for taking us through this story. When we looked at this video today, we said to ourselves, we got to find these guys. I just want to know how it is that you're able to do something like this, because what we're looking at in that video is something usually you only see in, you know, in 007 movies, et cetera, if you catch my drift. But here you guys actually went out there, you executed it, and you saved a life. Go ahead.
Sir, I mentioned our maintenance personnel. Also got to mention there was a lot of volunteers on the ground, like 60 personnel on the ground. Mason County Fire District, Mason County Sheriff, a lot of people coming together to make this happen. So, you know, we're thankful to God that everybody was able to come together and do a solid job.
You know what? You're a good guy. I want to give everybody else so much credit, and that's very nice of you. But still, you were the guys on the helicopter who actually made that happen, and you deserve a lot of credit yourself. God bless both of you. Appreciate your time. Thanks for being with us.